Hello, and welcome to This Week in James City County. I'm your host, Renee Dolman. Today, I am very fortunate to be joined by John McGlennon. Mr. McGlennon is the Board of Supervisors representative for the Roberts District. Welcome, Mr. McGlennon.
Hi, Renee. Thanks for having me.
So glad to have you. So let's get started. I know that there is a lot going on in James City County these days, but let's start in your district, the Roberts District. What's going on there?
Sure. If folks aren't familiar, the Roberts District is a fairly long one, and it's closer to the city of Williamsburg in a lot of areas, and runs from the Newport News City line all the way up to the Jamestown Ferry. So it's a pretty extensive bit of territory and a very diverse one. We've got areas that are relatively new developments out on Neckaland Road and along Jamestown Road. We have a number of apartment complexes where 199 and Jamestown Road come together. We've got Kings Mill, Kings Point, and then we stretch all the way down to Grove, which brings you down to the Green Mountain Industrial Center that then moves on to Newport News City Line. And we've got James Terrace area off of Penniman Road. So it covers a lot of territory, a lot of variation. It is an older section of the county. We have included in our district is Magruder Heights, which is said to be the first subdivision in James City County. So a lot of historical interest there as well. And we've got a number of things happening that affect folks from one end of that district to the other. I'll just mention a couple. I'm hoping to have a community meeting at the end of September in Grove so that we can talk about a couple of initiatives that are underway. VDOT now has accumulated enough funding for us to begin the acquisition of easements and begin planning for the improvement of Route 60 East from the fire station in Grove down to James River Elementary. The first half of that is now fully funded, and so we'll be moving from the fire station down toward probably about halfway down, maybe to where the convalescent home is on the right side of the road there. It'll include things like improving traffic safety by creating a central turn lane all the way down, which means that folks won't be backed up, that emergency vehicles can get through more easily, and so forth. And it will also include things like a multi-use trail that will extend the entire distance as well. Right now, we have some sections of the Jamestown of Richmond Road there that, I'm sorry, not Richmond Road, Route 60 East, Pocahontas Trail, that really don't have sidewalk that's usable for folks, and they sometimes wind up having to walk right along the street line, and that's not very safe. We want to have an opportunity to get some bus pull-offs so that as WADA continues to expand its services, folks are able to get on the bus and off the bus more safely and easily, and have a more comfortable wait time so they don't have to just stand out in the elements. So that's a very exciting prospect, and we want to begin getting the feedback for the final design of that first section and to continue accumulating funds for the second part. But that's supposed to start this fall, that this whole process. So we're excited about that.
That is definitely needed, and it has been a long time coming. I'm very glad to hear about this.
Yes, right. And we're also going to be working on stormwater improvements at the same time that are already fully funded and will affect the Howard Drive area, Jackson, and some of the other sections of the community. And we are, I think, very close to making a determination about acquisition of the land for the park that we're planning to create in this section of the county. It would include a swimming pool, which was the #1 preference of local residents for a park amenity, but also a number of other park-like features that I think folks will find useful.
Great.
Just traveling down the road, of course, Busch Gardens is having a great year, from what I understand, and we're excited about all the opportunities there. We know that they're always looking for new attractions to bring in tourists who help support our local economy very significantly. And as we move up to Kingsmill, there's a lot of concern being generated over proposed development there. And so I'm hearing a lot from constituents on that particular question, and been trying to get out as much information as I can to folks about what the process will be like, how we make sure that all the county procedures, policies, and code ordinances are being followed properly, and where we might be able to see some changes in the initial plan submitted by the developer there. When we move along, then we're, again, looking at some possible improvements in the Jamestown Road 199 intersection. My goal there is to not really radically change that intersection, but make it much more multimodal. It's a very safe, it's a very unsafe place for pedestrians to try to cross Route 199. And we really need to also build in capacity and infrastructure for mass transit to encourage people to take the bus. And frankly, I'm hoping we're going to have our director of WADA at a board meeting soon, that we can talk about the possibility of doing something that a number of other transit systems are doing, fare-free transit,
Wow.
which will really encourage people, I think, to consider taking the bus. And the more people who take mass transit, the more frequently the service will be provided, which will make it much more convenient for everybody. So I know sometimes people feel like, well, having to wait a half an hour in the prime times and maybe even an hour in the less traveled times just doesn't work for them in terms of convenience. If we can begin to see more ridership, then we're going to see opportunities to expand the number of trips that are taken and the frequency of those trips. Other things going on all up and down Jamestown Road, and a big concern that a lot of people have is in terms of communications. We continue to try to get the cellular telephone providers to improve their coverage of this area. Everything from Jamestown Road down through 199 to the edge of my district really has problems with calls being dropped, the inability of the infrastructure to fully meet the needs of the citizens. But also on that front, there is the news that we have a second computer and television fiber provider, which will give people more of an opportunity to make choices about which system they're going to use. And that competition may help to control the very rapid increase in cable prices that we've seen, and maybe improvements in the service quality as well. So that's kind of what's going on in Roberts District more generally. Lots of stuff happening. I should also point out that we're looking for some exciting developments in terms of the opportunity to provide some more affordable housing in the area, both on the Route 60 side of the part of the district and the 143 side, where there are some opportunities for us to really make some headway in providing for mixed income neighborhoods that might really help to solve some of the problem for first-time home buyers or renters.
Very good. Again, something that has been a long time coming. That's really good to hear that there's those opportunities hopefully on the horizon.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So we've covered Roberts District, a lot going on there. Let's move on to the county as a whole. I know that you all have finished the budget process, getting ready to start the next budget process, I'm sure, right around the corner. But tell me, what is going on? I hear a lot about the government center. And in fact, the government center right now is in the Roberts District, correct? I'm right on that, right?
That's right.
So tell us what's going on with that.
Well, we've been studying this question about the space utilization for the county for a couple of years now. And the major study that we had done found that in terms of meeting the current needs of both our employees and the citizens, that we're really functioning in a complex that was built 50 years ago. That is to say, the Mounts Bay complex,
Mhm.
right outside of Kings Mill, that was constructed at a time when the county's population was 14,000. Today it's 84,000. And we've had to sort of spread our county staff out into various locations. It makes it a little bit more challenging for people to figure out where they go to get services or issues addressed. We found that even if we just kept the current facilities, renovated and expanded them to accommodate the current way in which people are working and the services people expect, it was going to cost about the same amount of money as building a brand new facility more centrally located in the county. Most of our growth has been happening in the western parts of the county, and so we want something a little bit more central. And we've identified a parcel adjacent to the rec center on Long Hill Road that we think would be a good opportunity at about the same cost as just renovating and expanding current facilities. And so we're moving ahead with that. A design process is underway. Citizens have already been invited to one meeting to look at the ideas behind the government center and to start offering their thoughts about how we should move ahead. But we've got an architectural firm and a construction firm that have been looking at this process. So it's moving ahead. Earlier this year, I was able to join some other county staff, our county manager and county administrator, and a few other folks, our assistant county administrator, my colleague, the chair of the board, Ruth Larson, and I joined a tour in Minneapolis, Minnesota, of a couple of new municipal buildings in the city of Minneapolis and surrounding suburbs, and really got some great ideas there about the way that we want to address this new building. From my perspective, I think it's really important that our government center be a welcoming place, that people, first of all, feel like they can get what they need done accomplished in an efficient but caring way. And we need a building in which people, when they come in, feel at home and feel like they're able to express their concerns, to sit down and chat with somebody who may be working on an issue that they're concerned about, and to get the services they might need.
Absolutely. Well, then, speaking of employees, you all have also been very busy with the compensation side of the world. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, so one of the challenges that every employer has these days is retaining and attracting high quality personnel. We haven't really had that problem in the past in James City County. We've just been very fortunate because of the kind of work ethos of our employees, because of the kind of esprit de corps that's been developed by our county leadership over the years, and the general nature of a community where our citizens are very appreciative of good quality services and are willing to support it. But we're in an environment now where everybody is competing for a shrinking employment pool. And that's been especially challenging, but not exclusively, in public safety. So we began by really addressing the need to figure out how to better retain the folks who are currently working for us in the fire department, police department, emergency response folks, how to make them feel like they are really being treated well and supported by the county, because it makes sense not only in terms of having an experienced work crew that can, in fact, address issues, provide services most effectively, but also because we've made a significant investment in those workers. And if we have to now bring in new people that have to be trained again without some of those senior folks to show them the way, then that's really a very significant loss to us. So we began by addressing those public safety issues, and I think we really have done a pretty good job there. We've managed to reverse the issue of declining applications for positions, and we've managed to retain some folks. Then we realized that we have to take a look at our compensation more generally, and we did find that the county needed to make some significant adjustments to the levels of compensation for different kinds of positions in the community. And as a result, we approved in our budget this year the opportunity to implement a pay study that was done and to move in the direction of making sure that our employees are fairly compensated. In a lot of cases, that resulted in a significant increase for those employees. And so we are really recognizing that we have to be competitive in order to survive. We know we've heard stories from other communities closer to Northern Virginia, for instance, where they were recruiting firefighters from outlying suburban areas because Fairfax County was starting those firefighters at $100,000 a year. And for a firefighter who may be employed in a situation where they're on for 3 long days and are staying at the fire station, and then can go back to a community several miles outside of the place where they're working, that's a really tough competitive environment. And so we want to kind of address that need any way we can. And the need exists across the whole range of things, from the folks who keep our parks looking clean and pristine, the people who are responsible for maintaining our financial records, our planners, our communication staff, and just about everybody you can imagine everybody's trying to fight for the same kind of quality workforce. And we felt it critically important for us to be able to retain those folks that we have on staff and attract the best employees in the future, and that it was going to cost some money to do that. So we did adopt a budget that reflects that.
And I can definitely say, as an employee, that means a lot to know that not only the county administrator, but the board of supervisors, that they take all of this very seriously. And I know that that was not an easy job for you all to do. And, but, I know that it is appreciated, and hopefully it really does make a difference on, people sticking around, because as you know, I've been here for 31 years, so I'm a little biased. I think we're pretty spectacular here, but folks that have not been around that long, we want to be able to keep them. And I think that's great. And I appreciate that.
Well, that's exactly right. And what it meant, of course, was that we really needed to recognize that we had to generate more revenue. Mm-hmm. And when you recognize that home prices increased dramatically in recent times, that meant that our regular reassessment produced some pretty eye-popping numbers in terms of some houses that folks might have felt that they really understood that their house was worth more, but didn't necessarily feel prepared to address the impact that was going to have on their taxes. So while we originally were dealing with a budget proposal that kept the tax rate where it was, but fully incorporated the new assessment rates, we did kind of this year recognize that in order to make it possible for people to prepare for the impact, the full impact of these rising assessments, that we took some of the budget surplus that we had from the previous year and applied it to the tax bill that folks will receive later this year, and sort of cushion the impact by giving a tax credit that will extend for this just started budget year, but then we'll in the following year go back to the full rate without the tax credit in all likelihood.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And there will be lots of questions and lots of information, I'm sure, that we'll be helping to provide to explain
Well,
all
and
of that continuing.
we did want to address that with folks, and part of the reason we did what we did with the tax credit was because of the feedback we were getting from
Mhm.
citizens,
Mhm.
and we had community meetings in every one of the board's 5 districts, and at those meetings, the county administrator and the director of the James City Service Authority both did presentations to explain the budget and the situation we were confronting. And I will tell you that my experience was that, and I attended, I think, 4 of the 5 meetings. And what I found was that the citizens who attended were there because they were upset about the budget, but understood when the presentation was over why we were doing what we were doing, and were generally not happy that they were going to have a higher tax bill, but supportive of what we were doing and recognizing the need to do it.
Well, and you're absolutely right. Those meetings were very, very insightful. And I think lots of people walked out feeling differently than when they first got there. And I would, urge people, we'll have the website on at the end, but we're at jamescitycountyva.gov, and there are telephone numbers there. Give us calls. I mean, if there's something that you read and that you see online or on social media that people are getting upset about, always, feel free to give people calls that work here at the government center or at the county, because we can help explain on a one-on-one basis. It doesn't always have to be at big community meetings, of what's going on. And we definitely want to talk with people. I know Scott Stevens, our county administrator, always gives out his desk phone number everywhere. I think it's 757-253-66. Oh, I shouldn't have started that. 6603. Yeah, 6603. That's it. But also our Board of Supervisors members, you and your colleagues, your contact information is on the website as well. And, give folks calls, try to understand a little bit more about what's going on if there's stuff that concerns folks.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So many times I get a reaction from people when I answer my phone, and they're sort of expecting that there's going to be some kind of large Board of Supervisors staff member crew that are going to answer those phones, and it's no, it's just us.
Yeah,
We rely on our professional staff to manage things for all of us, and don't have personal staff members, which, in a place like Fairfax County, they certainly do, in state legislature and in Congress. But this is local government, and
absolutely.
we don't even have offices here in the
You do
county building.
not. Well, and something that I always think is fascinating is, and you're calling us from your job. I mean,
That's
what you do, you represent and serve on the Board of Supervisors as a secondary to your current job. And you are a professor of government, correct? At William and
that's right.
Mary.
Right. Uh-huh.
Well,
Mhm.
Mr. McGlennon, thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule, because like we said, you've got a semester to get ready for. But we really appreciate all of the work that you do and your commitment to this great local government of ours.
Well, thanks very much, Renee. It's always a pleasure chatting with you on this or any other venue.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Bye
Well,
bye.
bye-bye. That wraps up this episode of This Week in James City County. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, please be sure to subscribe. That way you will never miss an episode. And also you can go to our website. We're at jamescitycountyva.gov/podcast. And while there, you're going to find all of our shows, as well as a form that you can complete. Give us show ideas, comments, critiques. We would love to hear from you. So once again, thank you so much, and we will talk with you next time.